Hello, friends. Let's start with the second session of this series on first word from the cross. As we know that Jesus is hung there on the cross for 3 hours and he bears all this pain silently without uttering a single word during this time of 3 hours. And sometime during the next 3 hours, he utters his first statement from the cross that still rings across the centuries. And that is, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Remember that while uttering every word, he is dragging his injured back across the cross and pulling up against his nailed arms and feet. That's why what he spoke from the cross should be definitely very precious because we very well know the agony, the pain that he suffered just to give his every word. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Jesus begins his first word from the cross with a prayer request. Yeah, it's a prayer request. Isn't it surprising? Because the appropriate response for any person that's dying on the cross is to lash out of anger and to curse his tormentors. But Jesus, in the extreme trial of the cross, in the midst of deep anguish and pain, is finding his refuge in a prayer. Yeah, he's finding his refuge in a prayer because his faith in his Father is not at all shaken even in the darkest moment when all have deserted him and brought him to die. And he is now requesting God, addressing him with an intensely personal and intimate term called as Father. But why and what is he requesting the Father? Is it to help him to get down from that torture of the cross? Or is he praying to punish all his cruel murderers? No, no, he is not at all doing anything of that. He is neither praying to get from the cross down from the cross, neither he is cursing all those tormentors, but he is praying to forgive all of those who are responsible for nailing him on the cross. Yeah, he's praying all of those who are responsible for nailing him to the cross. Now, isn't this surprising that he's praying for the most unworthy people surrounding him? That too while his blood is still gushing from his veins, and rather than praying for himself, he is asking God not to punish them but to forgive them. Friends, Christ is praying for his enemies while they are crucifying him, while they are inflicting excruciating pain on him, while they are pouring out their entire cruelty on him, while they are not leaving a single chance for him to stay alive. And for such undeserving people, he is crying out, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Do you all know that this is the most powerful example of grace and forgiving love in the whole Bible? Now, one more question to ask here is that why is Jesus asking God to forgive these people while he himself had the authority to forgive them? Because on no previous occasion during his earthly ministry did Jesus ever make such a request to his Father? All other times Jesus forgave on his own authority, for which the religious leaders were upset and they thought that Jesus was crazy because no one else except God could forgive sins. Why then should Jesus now pray to the Father to forgive them instead of directly pronouncing forgiveness himself? It is because at this instance upon the cross, Jesus is no longer in the place of divine authority and power. He has emptied himself of this power and is now filled with all of our debts, all of our sins, and all of our shame. And so, in this moment, he is suffering the eternal penalty that we deserved because of the depths of our wickedness and is now operating as our sin representative up on the cross, totally dependent upon the grace and mercy of God. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. In praying so, he is putting into practice the principle that he had taught in the Sermon on the Mount, taken from Matthew chapter 5, verse 44, which states that love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Jesus, the persecuted, is praying for his persecutors from the cross when the forces of darkness has done their work. Father, forgive them. Now, who are these thems in the word Father, forgive them? And why is Jesus asking God to forgive these so called thems? To know the answer, let's tune into our third session. Thank you.